This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.
Welcome back. Regarding the incident that transpired at the Bimini Primary School involving a police officer who allegedly beat several male students, Minister of Education, Vocational Technical Training, Glennis Hannah Martin, responded to questions about what unfolded on that school campus. She says the actions of the officer were completely outside what was authorized.
It's being reviewed as we speak, but certainly we have the principal is not there and no longer there. I'm told the police officer was transferred, and the counseling has begun with these children, and so I consider it beyond most unfortunate, and it's something that we truly regret has happened in our schools, and in particular primary school, and so we are hoping that out of this the message will go out, and it's clear that if you seek to execute any form of corporal punishment, it is done in strict compliance, and that strict compliance only allows senior administrators to administer, and I think it also says the manner in which, so the way in which it's reported that happened in that school is completely outside of what was authorized. So we will wait to see how this transpires.
Minister Hannah Martin went on to express her regret. She also goes on record to say, since then, the principal is no longer at that school and the officer accused has been transferred.
The administrator's manual speaks specifically about how corporal punishment is administered. When a parent sends a child to the school, the parent has an expectation that if that is to occur, that it is occurred within strict adherence to that manual. I think the time has come that we must discuss this issue of corporal punishment even in that way in our schools. But that's a conversation that is later than this one. This is an incident that has happened. And I think that the issue here at hand is that the protocols are very clear about how discipline is administered.
According to a statement used by the Ministry of Education on Facebook, the matter is under active investigation and will result in swift and appropriate action. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, received $600,000 worth of donations from the United States Northern Command, U.S. NORTHCOM, in an official handing over ceremony of disaster response equipment to support the Bahamas' National Shelter Program. Here is Lance Posey, U.S. Acting Deputy Chief of Mission, with more details about that donation.
I'd like to emphasize the importance of what we're doing with this donation, the others that came before it, and many more to come. The critical equipment and ongoing training engagements are vital to emergency management. As most of this audience knows, emergency managers think of disasters as recurring events with 4 phases: mitigation, preparedness, response, and recovery. There's 27 generators over there. There's safety equipment. There's 6 reverse osmosis systems, and there'll be 7 shelters that we'll put on the family islands. This is a sign of our commitment to preparedness, which will enable effective response and recovery.
The equipment will support the planning, mitigation, response, and recovery before, after, and during emergencies or disasters. The equipment will strengthen the Bahamas' resiliency to climate change. The 2023 hurricane season begins on June 1st. Receiving the donations was Minister of State in the Office of the Prime Minister with responsibility for disaster preparedness, management, and reconstruction, Ms. Miles LaRoda.
We are gathered once again to accept and give thanks for the United States government very generous donation of 28 generators, which will be installed with automatic transfer switches, carbon monoxide sensors, and fire extinguishers. Support package costs approximately $600,000. Generators will be deployed to shelters in 7 of our family islands. The island receiving these generators are Abaco, Atkins, Andros, Cat Island, Exuma, Maguana, and my island, Crooked Island. The The determination of which islands will be supplied with generators was made following inspections in 2022 of the 143 facilities that served as hurricane and emergency shelters throughout the Bahamas.
In November of last year, the Bahamas was the recipient of the United States generosity by way of donated materials, including a field hospital, temporary shelters, communication equipment, generators, and floodwater rescue boats valued at approximately $5 million. Condolences continue to pour in for the family of the late Eldred Ed Bethel. Foreign Affairs and Public Service Minister Fred Mitchell, in expressing his sympathy, says he too was saddened to learn of the passing of a friend and colleague. Thanking him for his life of service to the foreign services, Minister Mitchell says his ministry mourns Mr. Bethel's passing as he helped within the ministry, training the next generation of diplomats even as his health waned. That said, the Bahamas Press Club, BPC, also expressing condolences to the Bethel family. Mr. Bethel was a founding member of the Bahamas Press Club and also served as president during the late 1990s. Current president of the Bahamas Press Club, Anthony Capron, describes Mr. Bethel as a consummate professional and a gentleman, noting that he was instrumental in preserving the integrity and standards of the journalism profession. Well, not only was the late Ed Bethel an iconic journalist, but he also became a friend and brother to many of those who he trained in the field of journalism. One such is the Bahamas ambassador to the United States, Wendell Jones, who himself is a veteran broadcaster. Mr. Jones telling Jcn's news team that he and Mr. Bethel had more than just a working relationship, even with Mr. Bethel being a part of Jones Communications Network as a news editor and head of the news department for many years.
He worked with me in Jones Communications for many years, ran the newsroom for me, and we always joked about it. He said, you know, I remember when I was involved in hiring you in ZNS, now I'm working for you, running your newsroom. He was not only a friend of mine, I will call Ed Bethel a brother. We shared many moments together on the job and off the job. He was someone who I relied on. I was able to count on him to carry the day. He became a member of my management team for some 6 years.
Ambassador Jones crediting Mr. Bethel with his jumpstart in journalism, joining the state broadcaster in 1972 under Mr. Bethel's tutelage. He says he owes a great deal of training to Mr. Bethel.
He was the person who guided me in my formative years as a journalist. And the first impression I got from working with him was that he was a consummate professional. I worked with him at the Broadcasting Corporation for 6 years. And he, as I mentioned, guided not only myself, but many of the young reporters at the time, and was responsible really for our formation in the journalistic profession. Ed was a journalistic icon in our country, a highly intelligent man with an authoritative voice in newscasting.
The ambassador reminiscing on the icon who coordinated coverage of the 1973 Bahamas independence along with Charles Carter and Carl Bethel. He says Mr. Bethel was the voice of many events in the Bahamas over the last 50 years.
At the time of his passing, we were serving together on certain initiatives for the 50th anniversary of independence. But in 1973, as a young reporter in ZNS, I remember he coordinated the independence celebrations, and he was one of the voices during that week-long celebration that we had. It was really more than a week, but focal point where he and people like Charles Carter, they were responsible for the live broadcast at Clifford Park, and he was there to describe the raising of the Bahamian flag and the lowering of the Union Jack.
We here at Jones Communication extend our condolences to the Bethel family, including his wife Dawn and their 4 children. And finally, this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, March 18th and 19th, the Long Islanders Association invites you to its mini regatta captain switch-up and fair at Montague Bay Beach and Park. There will be lots of food and drinks, games as well, but all eyes will be on the water for the racing with a different kind of twist as skippers and teams switch boats. It's a good way to tell if the boat is simply fast or if it's the skipper and his mastery of the winds that make the difference. They expect to have 8 sloops in the E-class and 6 sloops in the C-class, including King and Knight, Sun Sally, Sweet Island Gal, Cobra 2, Sassy Sue, and Dream Girl. Race time, 12 noon on Saturday, 1 p.m. on Sunday. That'll do it for your JCN Evening News. Once again, I'm Jerino Saunders. Thanks so much for joining us.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.